When I was a young lad, on occasion I did the old put my fingers in my ears and yell, "I can't hear you." Now, this usually happened when one of my siblings was telling me that mom and dad wanted me to do something that I really didn't want to do. Now, there's a lot of that sort of thing going on in our culture right now. A lot of people sticking their fingers in their ears and yelling. We can see it in politics and social media and the ever-present cancel culture. And unfortunately, we can see it in our own church. Now, we also see that from our gospel reading that it's by no means a recent phenomenon. In the story, Jesus is first met with praise and acclaim when the people hear what they want to hear. Then jealousy and suspicion creep in because some of the people had their own truth about who Jesus was and how things were supposed to be. Jesus then points out that God's grace is not just for the Jews. And there's an implication there that just like Elijah and Elisha, he would be taking his ministry to outsiders because his own people rejected him. Well, they didn't like that. So they stuck their fingers in their ears and they tried to cancel him. And the fact that I'm standing here talking about him today shows just how well that worked, doesn't it? Now, he didn't go around telling people things they didn't want to hear just to make them mad. He was telling them the truth, things they needed to hear because he loved them. He wanted their good simply for their sake, and he was willing to give up his own life to see that happen. Now that is the true nature of love. Our modern culture, on the other hand, says that the nature of love is tolerance, because it's built on a philosophy called postmodernism that says there is no objective truth or morality. You hear it when someone says to you something like, well, that's your truth, but I have my own truth. Now, before we go any further, let's define the word truth. A simple definition is that truth is an accurate description of reality. Now, there are times, of course, when the your truth, my truth thing is actually true. For example, I prefer vanilla ice cream to chocolate, whereas you may prefer the chocolate. The truth in this case is subjective, meaning that the truth is dependent on me. But there are objective truths out there that are not contingent on our tastes or our opinions or our motives or anything else related to us. It's true for me. It's true for you. It's true for everyone out there, even if they're sometimes difficult to recognize or to understand. So, what's an example of something that's objectively true? Well, when I'm done with this homily, we're going to go through a whole list of things that are objectively true in the Nicene Creed. In other words, they're an accurate description of reality, whether we or anyone else believes them or not. And they're accurate because they were revealed to us by God, who is the author of reality and truth. They form a basis for our faith, they describe our hope, and provide a glimpse of what love is. It's a foundation upon which we can understand the meaning of our lives and how to live them, and what our ultimate goal is. Now, this whole question of how to live our lives and how to obtain our ultimate goal would be easier if we had a map of some sort. The map would need to give an accurate picture of where we are, of the path from where we are right now to where we were created to go. It would also provide things to look for so that we know that we're going the right way. Well, in our second reading, Paul gives us a beautiful description of the things to look for on our map. As he points out, love is the most important part of our journey, and when we do it right, well, then we know we're headed in the right direction. And all the other things that are part of a holy life are actually meaningless without love, he says. And it makes sense because we're created out of love for union with God, who is love. So when we participate in love, true love that is, then we are in union with God. You follow that? Yeah, all right, good. So, what does Paul say we should be looking for? What are the signs that we're on the right path? Well, when we're patient and kind, we're headed in the right direction. When we give in to jealousy and our own self-interest and all the rest of those things he described, then we've taken a wrong turn. One thing that he says that I find particularly interesting is that love rejoices with the truth. See, love and truth, they're connected. And that makes sense too, because just like God is love, God is also truth. You can't have the one without the other. And when we follow love and truth to their highest expression, there we're going to find God. And that's the road we need to take. It's what Jesus came to show us. He is, after all, the embodiment of love. He said he is the way, the truth, and the life. In other words, he is our map, and we can't reach our destination without him. And we can have faith that he is leading us to our hoped-for destination because he has proven his love for both God and us by his life, by his death, his resurrection, and his ascension. And all we have to do to follow him is to love God and one another. All of this gives us direction and purpose, something that is sorely missing in our world. With folks leaving the church or never being exposed to the truths that she contains, there are droves of people out there without the map. They have their own ever-changing truth, which leads them nowhere, led by a popular culture that doesn't understand truth and love. People are stumbling around directionless, unhappy, confused, angry. My heart goes out to them. You know, it's a cause of so much disunity and suffering, so much anxiety and depression in our world. Ultimately, it leads to a meaningless existence. People need the good news. They need the map. And it is up to us individually and collectively as the church to have the courage to share the truth. We need to show them by how we live our lives what true love is, because when we do that, we show them who God is. Now, Jesus has given us this mission, and we can't just stick our fingers in our ears and say, we can't hear you. The world needs us too much for that.